Hello and welcome to the podcast. We have such an exciting treat today. I am Shanna from the Christian Life Coach podcast, and we have Kendall Snyder from the Journaling Room podcast, and Kim Boylan, who is an amazing friend of ours and who also has a very fun business that she will talk about too. And I just want to share that Kendall and we both started podcasts this year. And Kim is in the same coaching community, the Life Mentoring School coaching community with us. And we all three attend the same weekly encounter group. It's small groups within the bigger group of the community. And every time in our Thursday morning encounter group, Kim Boylan raises her hand to talk. You can literally see there's usually 30-ish women, maybe 20 on camera, and you can see them grab their pens and their notebooks and their heads are down, ready to take notes because they know that when Kim Boylan speaks, it's going to be Holy Spirit led from the heart of God to our ears. And it's going to impress on us. It's going to be something that we can remind ourselves of throughout our days, years, life. And also, it's also just like helpful things to help us to get through our days and things that we can use. And it is funny because you can see that. Am I wrong? People are like, Kim's talking, what? And I think there have even been times when people have said, can you repeat that? Or I missed what she said. Can somebody else give me their notes?
Yes,
So I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Yes. And Kim, I remember because I think all of us have been fairly consistent in the same encounter group for well over a year, maybe inching up to 2 years now.
Yes.
And I remember encounter group those first couple weeks I came and being so impressed with your vulnerability, your willingness to share. And I remember when you were sharing just different things that were going on in your life, the responsiveness of the women in that group, it just set the tone for me to just know right away, oh, this is a safe place. Like I can come in here and actually be me and talk about things. And since then, I literally have, my Kim notes section of my planner.
Oh, that's funny.
I've so looked up to you and things you've shared about marriage and motherhood and adult kids and just your own journey, your health journey. So thank you so much for.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
So, and you both are more kind than I deserve. You're so gracious, and I love you both dearly. So it's just such a pleasure and a joy of mine to be here today.
When I think about you, what comes to mind for me is you are a woman of faith.
Yes.
And like what Kendall said, in those early days, I remember you sharing about things that were going on and just the way that you spoke in faith and gratitude, and just that has been so impactful for me.
Yes.
And then meeting you in person and meeting your husband and this year your daughter,
that was just such a huge blessing.
It was
what a special time.
Yes. Yeah. We're just having a love fest. Everybody just carry on.
It's the best. I don't know where I would be without the two of you.
Okay, so Kim, now that we've had our little love fest, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, your family, whatever you want to tell, and what you are passionate about.
Well, I don't know, what I could share that would be of great interest. My husband and I, we just celebrated our 46th anniversary yesterday. 46 years.
Anniversary.
Yes, I was 8 years old when we got married. And the years go by fast. They go by very, very fast. So we are, let's see, we're native New Yorkers. That is where my husband and I both grew up and where we were raised, where we went to school, where we met each other. It's where we settled. We raised our family, our children. Um, but now, fast forward to where we are in the season of grandchildren. We relocated. Let's see, it's 4 years now. We relocated to Chicago, which is where our son, daughter-in-law, and four of our grandbabies are. And it was just time to just go and, help as much as we could and be involved. So that's where we find ourselves. And we also have a daughter who is in Charleston, South Carolina, and she has three more of our grandbabies. She has our oldest grandbaby and our youngest grandbaby. So we have a total of seven. And that is a joy. It's very difficult, though, having them so far apart. We feel like we're constantly juggling that, deciding, to be with one or the other. And, but a lot of parents, we go through that this season of life, just trying to navigate all of that. I joke with my husband often that our kids, we felt could move anywhere when they settled, but we should have made them promise they would settle together wherever that was. But, that was not the plan, and that's fine. What else can I share? I am very passionate about, of course, a life of faith. I'm passionate about Jesus Christ and all that he has done. My husband and I were not raised in the church, and so it's been a beautiful journey finding our faith later on in life. And that has been for, let me see, how many years now? Of maybe 38 years ago. That's been a beautiful journey. So we're so grateful for that. And of course, that is the thing we are most passionate about, aside from our family and our grandchildren. But another season of life where the Lord has my passions is just for health and wellness. And that's been a journey for my husband and I both. He was diagnosed with cancer about, I want to say, 8 years ago. And that started us on a journey of, okay, what can we do? What should we be doing? Um, and it's been a journey ever since of the health and wellness. And then last year I was diagnosed with cancer. So that's been a journey as well. Navigating, all that goes along with that. And yet also part of the beauty in that journey and all that the Lord has for you and teaches you through, total dependence on him in every capacity. Hearing bad news after bad news after bad news and just bringing it to him and just knowing that regardless of what you're told, he has the final word. And so I continue on that journey. But again, it's been overwhelmingly just him meeting you where you feel you have no hope. And he says, no, this is a journey that I'm allowing you to navigate. And I truly have come to believe that it's been an honor. I feel honored that he chose me to walk through this, knowing I would continue to trust in him and share the good news. And so I pray every day that I continue to just um, live it out through that joyful heart. And so that is by far my passion. Yeah.
Wow, Kim. Oh my gosh. And just thinking on coming up to, 5 decades of marriage. I mean, that
Yes.
is,
Right?
gosh, maybe we should have made this whole topic all about marriage because there's so much we could like unpack there.
Yes.
Thinking back though, like on your newly married self, and it's interesting you say that because I also My husband and I were not saved when we got married either. So thinking back on that, newly married, Kim, what would you tell her now that maybe you'd wish she'd known, about
Uh,
marriage?
yes. I I would say, and what my counsel would be to anyone in that position is to do the hard work first.
Mm,
And what I mean is, or at least part of the hard work. I think, you really have to start that firm foundation way before you say I do.
mm,
And even before you commit to an engagement, I really feel even before then, you need to truly take the time and make sure that you are of one mind in what a godly marriage looks like and how that is defined
mm,
and how your roles are defined and what the Lord asks of you as a wife, as a husband.
mm,
Because if you're not like-minded, the foundation from that point forward will never be on solid ground. And and I say that even before engagement, because once the ring is on the finger, now most couples do some form of premarital counseling and all of that, and that is wonderful. But I really believe, and I've seen this happen time and time again, that through that counseling, if there are any red flags and any concerns, at that point, you're so far down that road, many couples are afraid to acknowledge that maybe this is not where we belong. And so they move forward with something that just does not work. And
mm.
so my greatest counsel always is just even before, as early on as you can, do that hard work, ask the hard questions, and just go before the Lord and make sure you truly understand what that godly marriage looks like.
What do you think has sustained you um over the years
Uh,
of marriage?
wow.
How could I
Well, I,
just finish? That's what I want to know. I'm sitting at
well,
I'm sitting at 26, so I'm about
one
half.
thing I would say just practically is, and I know it's really is humor. My husband, I'm not as humorous as he is, but he can find humor in everything, and that really does help. But from a spiritual perspective, and this took many years to learn this, but I'm so thankful that I've come to grasp this truth, and that is, we want perfect marriages and we long for that, but I don't think we can ever really achieve that. And what I think is so important is when you come to terms with that and you acknowledge that, you understand the reason. And the reason why is if we did have that perfect marriage, God knows we would become very self reliant and we most likely wouldn't continue to seek Him out. And so I feel like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I have thought, Lord, we are married 46 years. Are we still going to come to blows over this same thing? And it's exhausting. And yet I remind myself that, there's always going to be a little bit of that tension because we truly need to continue, no matter how long we've been married, we need to hold on to Him and seek Him first. And that's what keeps us doing that.
Mm.
That is so good. This could be a whole pre-marriage podcast that all the moms want to
I
send to their
I
young adult
agree.
kids.
Right. And you have to be able to say those hard things, to the young couples, like I wish someone had said to us, you
And
know?
I think it's hard too, though, because when you're young, not just young in love with somebody else and like all the rose colored glasses and everything, but you don't really know yourself yet.
No.
So doing some of this work to become more of who God created you to be before you find that other person,
Yes.
and be your own whole self first,
Yes.
and know what you want, so that when you're having that hard conversation, you're having it with as much of an understanding as you can at whatever
Mhm.
age you are, about what you want and what is important to you. Because
Yes.
I agree, if you don't talk about those foundational, like your core values
Right.
and what really matters to you before going into marriage, and do that hard work first,
Mhm.
then you're doing the easy stuff first, and it's going to get so much harder. And you
Oh,
do the hard stuff up front, and then things are not going to be easy. Do not mishear me, but they're going to be easier than they could have been.
most definitely.
Because even
Yes.
the best marriages take work.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm sitting at 31 years. I'm just
Oh, it's so wonderful. It goes by fast.
the years go by fast, but those days.
We all have them. Yes.
That's it, is so true. Like, and when you're a young mom and people say, "Oh, it's going to go so fast," and you're like, "Are you kidding me? It's dragging on forever." But truly, the days seem long, but it goes by so fast.
Kim, I'd love to ask another question. I'm
Sure.
dying to know this. I would love, just because obviously we all met in the context of a group coaching program. I would love to know, just when you think about your journey, just that the Lord's taking you on and using these tools of coaching and thought work. Um, how has just the Lord used the mind shift, the practical tools of taking thoughts captive to make a difference in how you're showing up for your family?
Yes, yes. I love this question. I love this question. This again could be another whole podcast, just this one question. I love it. Oh, I just I don't even know where to begin. I have to first say that coaching was something that I never truly believed in or gave any value to. I always, and I confess this, that I always felt if my relationship with the Lord was where it needed to be, what else would I need? What other counsel could I possibly need or benefit from other than from the Lord Himself? And I was exposed to a lot of coaching. By this point, it's been around, and I've had many friends who were coaches and many friends who participated in coaching. But again, it was, this attitude of I just feel bad for people who claim that they are in some way, in need of that. And I'm so grateful that the Lord brought me to a point in this season of understanding how prideful that was, because
Mm.
He had so much for me when I just allowed myself to be humbled and understand the value of coaching. And honestly, the way that He revealed it to me it wasn't anything I was seeking or looking for. I just happened to be at a work convention, and it was this speaker who I had never heard of before, didn't know her name, Dr. Edie Wadsworth. And when I saw her name on the program, I quite honestly thought I had this vision of a Dr. Edie Wadsworth, this sweet little old lady with her cane and her, I did imagine her to have a bun, which was accurate, right? We all know she has her bun. And, I just imagined her kind of hobbling up, on the stage which I in itself was looking forward to because I just love, the wealth of knowledge for people who have gone, before us. And so m- imagine my shock when they introduced her and she came out on stage, this beautiful, gorgeous, vibrant, bright, sweet, young, blonde, energetic woman just setting the stage on fire. And she did her talk on, pertaining to our business and what she had to share, and it was absolutely wonderful. But it was at the very end of that, she just briefly mentioned, her mentoring program and life coaching and what that was. And she mentioned in passing one of her upcoming workshops that she was doing. And I was all over that. Like I could just tell that this was something that was so intriguing to me. And my husband happened to be sitting at the table next to me, and he saw the expression, on my face, and he could tell that it touched my heart. He took out his phone and went right online, pulled up her website, and right there signed me up for I it was I want it wasn't made for more. It was a Freedom Week. It was Freedom Week. And so I attended this not having any idea what to expect. And she just, it was, I, how can I best explain this? I felt like the Lord was allowing me to see for all of the wisdom that I had collected over the years and all that scripture had meant to me and all that I had memorized in scripture. It was finally giving me the practical tools on how to apply all of it. I never imagined that. And it just, the whole concept of a new creation and renewing your mind, um, those are truths that we know, but how do we practically do that? Like, what does that really mean in our everyday life? And that's what coaching has been for me. It has started me on this journey to understanding so much of how practical scripture is.
Mm.
And he's the God of science and the science of the brain and the way he has wired us and the way that it works. It has just been so transforming in my life. And now I have done counseling, um, but I have found for me personally, I have found much more growth in my journey of coaching. I have felt as if I don't look to someone else that has the tools to help me. I'm understanding that God has already gifted me with those tools. I'm just learning how to apply them properly. And that's where I've had the most growth. I know I'm going on. I'm so sorry. You probably,
Oh,
but that's that's the journey that I've been on and continue to be on and will be because it's just, it has helped me so much live a life of understanding based in the truth and not living a life through our emotions, which we do so often, especially as women.
mhm.
Um, that's it's been not only for me but for my entire family has been immeasurable.
That is so good because that's one of the things that I say that coaching is. It's teaching us how to apply biblical principles in our real life days.
Yes.
And I think you hit on something that's so true, and I think is kind of a barrier to women seeking out either counseling or coaching. I agree. I think that coaching is dare I say, more effective than counseling,
Mhm.
unless there's like very traumatic
Right.
things
Yes.
to work through. Like that's a whole different story. But
Yes.
um, coaching is so powerful. I'm kind of scrolling back through the transcript to see something that you said, and now I'm not going to be able to find it. But, but I think that women do think, if I trust Jesus, I love Jesus. Jesus is all I need, and 100%, Jesus is all that you
Yes.
need. And also, coaching helps to point you back to Him, and
Yes.
to, like you said, um, to show you that He's given you the tools within yourself.
Yes.
Coaching helps you learn to use those tools.
Mhm. And it teaches us in our life of faith that the Lord will part the sea, but our part is to step out in faith, right? And put our foot in the water, and then He parts it. And I feel that that for me has been the coaching.
Yeah,
So
so good. And
I,
I just
I,
want to see your husband. I I met you guys in person last summer at Love
mhm.
is Magic, and the way that this man looks at this woman,
Ugh,
and at that point,
not always.
not always, of course. And you know what? And even when I say that you're an amazing woman of faith, and you're like, I don't deserve that. Of course, you're human. Like, well, we say things, we
Yes.
do things. We're like, ugh, that
Yes.
happened.
Yes.
And I don't ever want to put anybody on a pedestal, and also acknowledge how amazing you are. But
Oh,
that Love is Magic, you had just had surgery not very long
mhm.
before that, and he was like your protector. Like,
Yes.
he was making sure you got where you needed to get safely,
Yes.
kind of like
Yes.
protecting you from the outer elements.
Yes.
It was the sweetest
I
thing.
know.
I was crying, like sitting
Mhm.
there talking to these two amazing people, and they're just seeing them together was, oh,
Ugh. When
blessed.
you go through that, it does take your relationship to another level.
And
Yeah.
especially with him, you walking through cancer with him, and him walking through cancer with you,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, that changes things for sure.
Yes.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Kendall.
But I want to say one quick thing before, because I don't want to forget to say this when we're talking about, coaching, and then, you know, um, how that applied to my cancer. I have to say that I've been going through this program a good year, maybe year and a half before I got diagnosed. And it's so precious. And the Lord's love is so abundant that He knew even before I fought cancer physically, the battle starts in the mind. And I was going to have to be of strong mind first. And so He took me down this beautiful journey of growing in that capacity, so that when I was diagnosed, I had the tools I needed to navigate through, um, fear and panic and uncertainty and all of those things that none of us can escape. We all face those. But yet I had the ability to know this does not have to define me. I'm going down this journey, but this is just a part that I could zoom back and look at my life and where the Lord has brought me and where He's taking me. And yes, cancer that is there. And but I needed to know, because it is very overwhelming in the beginning. There's every moment of every day is taken up with, appointments and scans and diagnoses and research, and just on and on and on and on. It can become all consuming. And I knew that's not where the Lord wanted me. And so the beautiful thing was, my brain was ready to do the work and to know I have the capacity to understand this is not completely defining me right now. And it might be the focus of cancer right now, but there's so much the Lord wants to do through that in many areas. And so I just wanted to touch upon that quickly before I forgot to say that.
Mm. That's so good. And it actually ties in with what I was going to say, was just that we can have all of the knowledge from the word, which is so important. In
Mhm.
order to know who Christ is, we need to know his
Mhm.
word, hands down. But I think what I hear you saying and what resonates with me is the tools that the Lord has taught me through coaching have allowed me just to sink deeper into that perspective. So now I have tools. I have a tool called the creation cycle that helps me examine my thoughts and gives me options for taking thoughts captive and what I want to think on purpose. And I have my own coach who sits with me and offers me things that my brain wouldn't think of, gives me a different perspective to align back to his word. And so I love what you said, that the tools that we have are not only practical, but the reason why I feel like they're so powerful is because they help us just continue to realign with the right perspective. And um, that's, my heart is quick to get misaligned. So I need
Amen.
that,
Amen.
yeah, that gentle shift. So I
Yes.
love all that.
Can I shift a little bit?
Go
Go for
for it. Let's shift.
And this, and I want to re-acknowledge being a 1 hour a week viewer in your journey, the way that you, and I'm sure you had moments of weakness, I'm sure like all of that happened, but the way that you spoke in our encounter groups on a weekly-ish basis, sharing updates and whatever, the way that um you shined, you
Oh.
literally shined through all of it. And just you saying that it was an honor that God walked you through that,
Mhm.
knowing that you were going to stay faithful instead of even, and this is coaching right here, instead of thinking, oh, God's testing me, God's, whatever. It's like, no, I am honored because God knew. God was
Yes.
showing me
Yes.
what I was capable of. And I
Yes.
know that it's blessed all of the other women that were in encounter groups, and there have even been women that have had cancer diagnosis since then, that
Yes.
I'm sure seeing you walk in front of them was hugely impactful for them. So
Yes.
I want to acknowledge that has been so beautiful watching you walk through that, something that's so scary. And
Yes.
and
Yes. But we also know pain has a purpose, and we need whatever the pain is, and we need to remind ourselves that there's a purpose, and the Lord will honor that. If you seek and ask that, He will honor that, and He will reveal to you, what that purpose is. So
and so that kind of leads into the transition too, about like parenting adult children, and that brings its own pain. And I especially in different types at different times, but especially, I'm not sure when this podcast is going to launch, but it's the beginning of August. And so a lot of parents are sending kids back to school, sending kids away to college for the first time. Um, and even kids that graduated from college and they're not going back to school, and parents are, what's my kid going to do, kind of thing. How has it been for you being the mother of adult children? Tell us about that transition and how it went in your house.
so I felt very ill-equipped at that, and we're in this season now, only because I don't know if the women our age now share enough with the younger moms to prepare them. I I don't know. I guess I never really thought much about your adult children having their own free will and making their own choices. And, but that's to be expected. And you both know my daughter, and she freely shares her journey, and how difficult that has been, and going through a divorce and being a single mom with, three little boys, and being so far away. She's so far away from any family or friends. And so she's going through that. And here we are, as parents desperately wanting to do everything that we can. And, feeling like I needed to immediately be down there in Charleston, South Carolina to help her and swoop in. And then finding myself diagnosed with cancer. And the Lord says, no, you're not, you're staying here, you're staying put. This is the journey I'm taking her on. And she's going to learn how resilient she is and how strong her faith is. And it has been the most difficult thing, as I think, in our parenting journey, and yet at the same time the most beautiful thing to watch. And there are so many times as we parent adult children that we have to ask ourselves and remind ourselves and work really hard to be mindful of less of us and more of him. Even with our words, there's so many times we want to either offer words of advice, even words of encouragement or whatever. And even with that, I take a step back and first ask of the Lord, is this a time where they need to hear from you and not from me? And I want so desperately to still be the mom that I've always been, but that's not how God designed this. And once they become adults, I I really, one of the things, and I know you might ask this later, but I'm going to bring this up now. One of the things that helped me the most is a book called, let me get this right. It's called The Legacy of Prayer, and the author is Jennifer Kennedy Dean. And in that book, she talks about this very topic, parenting adult children. And she said, one of the most beautiful things is coming to recognize that in this season, our prayers are so much more powerful than our presence. And of course, we can't be with our children all the time. But God's design is when they are young, when we are raising them as infants and, through their lives, as moms, it's very much about an emotional relationship. That's the bond we have with our children. That's what allows us, to just be the mama bears and all that we need to be and the protectors of our children. And it is based around a lot of emotion, which is how God designed that. But then as we fast forward and they become adults, it now shifts from that emotional relationship into a deep spiritual relationship. And that thought has helped me tremendously because God still equips us with everything we need to still be their moms. It looks differently, but it's just as powerful. And that is the legacy. It's the legacy of our prayer life for our children and our grandchildren. And that, for me, that has been my foundation now as we navigate adult children. Um, it's not anything that we ever expected, but why should it be? The Lord is the Lord is writing their testimony. They have their own testimony. And it's just a journey that we get to be part of from a distance. But again, the prayer, it's the most powerful thing. And so that's been beautiful.
So when your kids were younger,
Hmm.
were you a swooper inner?
I'm sorry, was I what?
A swooper inner?
Oh, yes. Oh, swooper inner mama bear. I used to say to my husband all the time, listen, mama bears are known to kill for their young, and that includes killing the dads. So, you know, so back off. I just was fiercely protective. But as I grew in my faith and understood more about how um, it is, it is so dishonoring, and we are told this. I really believe society has us believe that when our children are born, we are given this lump of clay, and it is our job and responsibility to mold them into the people that they are to be. That is not true. I really don't. I believe the Lord has is molding them into the person He has created. Our job as the parent is to recognize and identify who the Lord is creating and parent from that perspective. And that can make parenting very difficult because each child is molded differently, which means parenting them will be different. But it's also it's also very freeing to recognize that that's not our responsibility. That really is the Lord's job. We recognize that and we parent from that perspective.
Kim, that was one of the things that you shared in Encounter Group. I am so thankful. Like I wrote that down. That has helped me so many times, even with, with my adult kids and with my ones that are still in the home. I'm so thankful
Yes,
that that
yes,
came up today.
yes, that has helped. And also to understand that we want desperately to be the perfect mom. I think every mom strives for that. But when we come to the understanding that when we do that, when we try to be perfection in the lives of our children, we are taking the role assigned only to the Lord Himself. It is so important that we know and we let our children know, I will fail you. I will disappoint you. I will love you fiercely. I will love you with everything in me. But the only perfection I can ever point you to is Christ Himself. Because if we don't teach them that, they are going to see our shortcomings. They are going to see our failures, and we're going to set them up for a downfall. So it's really important. First of all, it's very freeing for us when we can admit that, but it's also the thing that our children truly do need to recognize, because then it also takes a life of perfection off the plate for them too.
Yes. A theme that keeps coming up in just coaching calls that I watch with my own clients, with my own friends, because I'm at that age where we've got kids now that are getting married, is this transition of watching your kids leave and cleave, that whole thing.
Hmm.
And so just would love to know your thoughts on just the early months and years of when your kids are newly married and just rhythms. I don't
Right,
love the word boundaries, but just
right.
practices that you feel like would be an encouragement to those as they watch their kiddos get married.
I think the encouragement I would offer is that, again, we're all going to experience maybe um, watching our children make decisions that might not be the best, um, and see them living out the consequences. Or it doesn't even have to be something as life altering as it was for us watching our daughter go through this divorce. It could be our child taking the wrong job or whatever. But again, I want to remind myself often that this is an important time and season for them to hear of the Lord and not of me. And I want to approach this season graciously. Like, even in what might be a disappointment to me and in my heart, I want to be gracious. I always want to approach my adult children and our relationship graciously and gracefully, and not with expectations or any of that. Just acknowledging that, this is their journey, and we have a place, but it's not where it always was. It's somewhere new, and we just get to cheer them on. And even in what could be a disappointment, I want to just always show up graciously.
And I would say, I would guess, it's not so much a disappointment in them, but a disappointment for them too.
Right, exactly. Yes,
I hate that you have to go through that. I hate that this is I hate that you made this choice and now you have to go through this.
and the Lord knows what's going to build resilience in them. And if you left it up to us, we would never allow our children to go through those trials to get that strong. We couldn't do it.
Well,
And
and I
so,
think that there is an epidemic of epic proportions of mothers that are not letting their children
no,
experience natural
no,
logical consequences. And
no.
it used to be, I was a high school counselor. It used to be, we were helicopter parents, but right now they're bulldozer moms, bulldozing the pathway in front of their kids so they don't have any obstacles. So they're not strengthening, they're not building
No.
resilience, they're not
Yes.
growing, and the moms are kind of, they're setting themselves up as the gods in their kids' lives.
Yes.
And the kids,
Yes.
like, as a school counselor, I got phone calls from these moms,
Yes.
and I'm like, you have let the kids fail. They're not going to grow.
Absolutely.
They're not going to learn. And when we can allow our kids to fail and experience the consequences and grow and learn and have to go talk to the teacher or apologize or pay for the broken window, whatever it is, not get to play on the team, whatever. Those are so much smaller than those bigger things that can happen when they're adults that we can't protect them from, and they don't understand. Why can't I deal with this?
And
And
that's the greater lesson. A lot of times, the greater lesson comes from the failure rather than the success. So we have to let them do that.
yes, I agree.
And this is where coaching is so magical, right? Because I'm sitting here thinking of a situation right now where I am tempted to be the bulldozer. And it's because I want to avoid a certain way that's going to make me feel if I have to stay on that front row seat and watch this all play out. And so,
Yes.
yes, like yeah, oh, it turns out I am just still in this work. Yeah.
That's because you still have kids at home.
I, I don't know. I'm still in the work with my kids out of the home too.
I feel that too.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And if it weren't for coaching, it would be such a different experience. Such a different experience.
Oh,
Yes. I wouldn't have even thought the bulldoze it just would have just come into full effect. I wouldn't have even paused. And I definitely wouldn't have even, you know, now the Lord helps me think, what are you trying to avoid here? What are you just not wanting to deal with that you feel like this is going to help you? So, yeah.
And I will also say, in case anybody wants to come at me,
Never.
mothers are absolutely supposed to advocate for their children and protect their children and fight for their children. I am my oldest son has me listed as mama bear in his phone. So I will fight you. I will kill for my children. But I also want them to be able to handle their own lives.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't
Yes.
want to be responsible for them.
No.
To be honest,
Yes.
I've got enough up in here.
Kim, I'd love to, if we could, I'd love to hear just about your more just real practical, just like do you have a morning routine that you love? I would also
Oh,
love to just hear about your experience with journaling. I think that would be
yes.
in particular interest to the listeners to my podcast. So tell us about those.
Okay. This is another really great question. I love this. So I'll just quickly go through some of my morning routine involves. I know a lot of people, a lot of self-help encouragement always deters us to use the snooze alarm in the morning. But I have to be honest, I love the snooze alarm.
Can I just say, I heard you share this, and when you said that, before you said the rest, I was like, oh, blasphemy.
Right? Right?
Yes. Okay.
But
And then you said the rest, and I was like, of course, it's Kim. Of course.
well, I love those few moments. I don't know what is the snooze alarm, like 8, 9 minutes. I don't even know what the timing is, but somewhere around there, the snooze alarm goes off and it gives me that instant time with the Lord. I use that. I lay there. The first thing I do is I thank him for the healing that he continues in my body of cancer and any of the effects that I have from this journey. And I continue to just pour out my heart of gratitude for the abundance that he's lavished me with. And then I use that time for the most urgent prayer needs of course, my family, my children, my grandchildren, and anything else that is, just most urgent at that time. And I love doing that before I even step out of bed. It just, oh, my mind is already captivated, and so I I strongly encourage the use of the snooze alarm. Go ahead, I give you permission. Use the snooze alarm. Um, but then I get up, and the things that are an absolute must is make your bed. Make your bed. It's a beautiful way to start the day. I love that routine and that habit. It's one that I have to do. But then I go out to the kitchen and I before I even start my Bible time, I turn my diffusers on. My essential oils are very important. I love starting my day. I love before I start my Bible, even engaging my brain, I want the benefits. I know how beneficial the cognitive advantages to how our brain is wired and how they're connected to essential oils and all of that is really so fascinating. So I love to, engage that right away, right from the get-go. And then I move over to while I'm making my tea, um, the Bible study that I'm involved in right now is the Bible recap. Many of us do that, and I opt for the audio option, or the audible option. So I immediately turn that on, and I'm listening to that while I'm making my cup of tea, and that's how I participate in my Bible reading through that time. I love to me, I get much more out of hearing than I necessarily do reading, and so it really engages my brain immediately. So that's the option that I take, and those are all musts. Um, I love, of course, then engaging physically and trying to do, my goal every day is 10,000 steps, which I love to do. And, with my health journey, it's been a little bit more difficult to get there. I try really hard. I have to do it a little differently now. But I'm still motivated to do it. And we know how healthy that is, not only for the body, but for the mind and the brain and all of that. So I do try to get the 10,000 steps in. And so those are non-negotiables. Those are the routines that have made a huge difference.
Kim, what's in your diffuser right now? I need to know. Like, what are you
So
diffusing?
right now I have one of the oils that I have is orange creamsicle. I love any citrus oil in the morning. It's very invigorating. I love that. And then a lot of times I will also take a drop of it and just at the base of my neck and behind my ears. Oh, it's just so refreshing. And it wakes me up better than a shower. It's awesome. So yeah, so that's what I have going now.
Wow.
Yes.
I love that so much. And here, I mean, this snooze button, my schedule's been off, so I must have missed this in encounter group, which makes me so sad. But this is so good. It's not the snooze button. It's our thoughts about the snooze button.
Right.
I
Right.
have taken so much pride in eliminating the snooze button from my life.
See what you've been missing?
I know.
Yes.
It was, I believe it was in the chat on the Ruby call that she said it. I think so. I know.
Yes, Kendall, start using that snooze.
I might have to turn it back on. Although I actually don't even use an alarm right now. So
Wow.
there's
Good
that.
for you.
I don't
That's
know.
that's kind of how I am too, unless there's just, something really pressing that I need to set an alarm for. But I
Well, and
love it. Just
I've been getting up before 5.
Mhm.
But if I do, like if I need to be up by 6, I'll set my alarm just to make sure. But
yes.
aging, man, makes you get up
Mhm.
earlier.
It's just such a powerful example, though, that, like number one, our brains will want to shame us over anything it possibly can find. It's going to
Right.
default. And then number two, it's our thoughts about it. Like you've got amazing thoughts and you love your reasons.
Yes. Yes.
And
And
I,
it's a tool. You're using it as a tool.
Yes.
I love that.
Set your mind on things above. That's what the snooze alarm, you can use it for his good and his glory.
yes. Yes.
There's a
So,
podcast in that. The snooze button. Don't hate on the snooze button.
Kim, tell
Tony
me,
Robbins.
Kim, do you enjoy journaling? Has journaling or writing your thoughts down using a planner, has any of that been helpful to you?
So this is a little bit of confession time. I
Yeah.
have not been in the past, but wait, we're going somewhere with this. I I've not been great at journaling. And I don't really know why. I don't know, I always hesitated, never feeling like um I was very eloquent in my writing and never felt that I don't know, I realize now that the enemy was just using that to keep me from what it's so much more than what I was thinking it was. And so I was not ever very good at it. But it was also because I truly didn't understand a God's design for journaling, and it's so much more than just trying to write eloquently on a paper. That's not it at all. So, Kendall, has you have just been, if anyone, I can't, if you have any issues at all with journaling, you have to listen to each and every podcast of the journaling room because it's given me freedom to journal in a way that has nothing to do with a pattern there's so many beautiful ways to journal. And it's understanding first the purpose of journaling. And I have to just share a little personal story. So, my brother in law, my husband's brother, has passed away a couple weeks ago. And, our family's been going through this grief journey. He and his wife, my sister in law, have been our spiritual giants for my husband and I. They are the ones who led us to the Lord and prayed us into the kingdom. So they have been, like I said, our spiritual giants. They were our very first mentors before we even knew what mentoring was. And so they are just the most precious people. And he recently lost his battle to cancer. In fact, I'm sitting right now here visiting. I'm in New Braunfels, which is where they live, and I'm in his office, and I'm surrounded by a stack of his Bibles and journals. Um, that's where he journals in God's Word. And it's so beautiful to see the gift that he left behind, because in life he was a soldier. He was part of the military all of his adult life. Um, Taught and mentored leadership like I've never seen before. Amazing, an amazing leader. But the greatest thing that he has done for his family and that he has left behind are all of these beautiful journaling notes of this is truly a battle plan that he left behind for his family. They are well equipped. And I'm not talking about earthly things. I'm not talking about, finances and all of the things that we worry about setting our family up for. You know, yes, they're there, but that was not his priority. And it truly is understanding that journaling, it's this beautiful gift we give those behind us. And it's this beautiful battle plan. Everything they need, everything that they um, will value and treasure, he's written down. And it's overwhelming to me. And so as we've gone through all of this, we've sat here and we've read, entry after entry after entry. And it's made me so thankful that I'm now aware of the value. And it's really not about me, it's about the legacy and what a gift we can give to our family. And so I'm thankful for you, Kendall, because through your podcast and through your wisdom and knowledge, it sparked in me this desire to journal. And you give so many wonderful ways of doing it.
Mm.
And some days I can sit there and I can write and write and write and pour my heart out. And then there are other days it's just, Lord, help. And all of it is great. All of it is perfect. All of it is exactly what it needs to be. And so I love how journaling has taken on a whole new meaning for me.
Mm. Oh, I love that, Kim. The legacy aspect of, and again, some of my stuff I'm not sure I'd want to include in that legacy file. Let's just be honest. But I love the fact that I feel like the podcast for me really has become like an audio journal. And I thought about, my daughters, my granddaughters listening to it one day, and the generational just impact of just a small little gift that the Lord just keeps multiplying. But I love that so much, Kim. And it's just so honest. Like, me too. I mean, me too. I got a podcast on journaling, for crying out loud, but I ain't journaling every day. And that's okay. That's okay. And it can look so many different ways. Um,
And another thing that I wanted to mention is, as my sister-in-law and I are going through, she points out that so much of his journaling is written out questions rather than answers.
interesting.
And it was so, yes, it was so interesting to acknowledge that, especially for her now, because she's going through this grief and there are so many questions, right? And I thought, how beautiful that Joe has left behind the the understanding that sometimes questions are more valuable than the answers, and it's okay to have all these questions, and it's even okay to just to not have the answer right now, but just keep asking the questions.
Mm.
And he taught us that through his journaling.
Wow. We could not have planned that you'd be sitting there with that stack of journals right there with you.
Yes. Yes.
You know, praise the Lord how he's using podcasts
Oh,
and tools in
mhm.
coaching and conversations and containers like Encounter Group that
Yes.
are safe to share. Like he's using all of it. His abundance to us is just overflowing.
He is a creative God. He is not in a box. We have to keep our eyes, our minds open, be discerning, and just look around and see he's working everywhere, in everything, through everything. And we can participate in that if we choose to.
Mhm.
I think that's one of the things that coaching has really helped me with is to be aware, and in order to be aware, I have to be intentional to notice those things and to
Mhm.
remind myself of, you know, look what he's doing in Kim's life. Look
Right.
what he did. And I actually had a crazy encounter with my journal, and it was such a great reminder, and just to acknowledge that and give God the glory for that. Acknowledge him in
Yes.
all your ways.
Oh, absolutely. That's why one of the things that I love to do when I'm journaling is um, I one of the very first things I do is to try and sit and identify the five senses. So you know, it quiets my mind and spirit, and I try to think, what what do I smell right now? What do I hear? What do I see? Is there anything I can taste? And when I do that, it brings me right where I am at the moment and makes me aware of all that God has surrounded me with. And I that's been a game changer for me.
That's beautiful. I think we could probably talk for like 3 hours.
I know I could.
Shanna,
Anything
is there
else?
anything else you want to ask?
I think we've covered it. I want to curl up on a couch and just continue this conversation. I want to hear all about how you met the Lord, both of you as married adults. That I am so fascinated by those stories. I want to hear all of it. Kim, do you want to share about your oils? I know that you have a
Well,
group
yeah. Well,
and
that has been a huge part of the wellness journey um, that I've taken. And again, it's part of the healing that for the longest time I would make fun of people who even entertained the use of anything like that. I thought, oh, I just didn't have time for that. But once the Lord gets, your attention and you start researching in many areas and many different ways, I just kept going back to that and realizing, okay, what do I have to lose? And so it was one of those things where I thought, I'm just going to jump in. I'm just going to see. And even before I was diagnosed, one of the things that I struggled with was sleep, which is very common, especially for women, of this age. And we just get to a point where it's difficult and it takes its toll when you let it go long enough. And so a friend of mine said, you have to try this. This is just the most peaceful, calming, relaxing, easy fix to a sleep issue. And so I was all in. Let's go. Let's try it. And so I was already into the science behind how this works and what oils do, so that when it came time to go through more serious health, issues, it was like the Lord knew what he was doing when he created a lot of these, what people tend to think of as crazy, ways. But it has been amazing. It has helped with my sleep, with anxiety, with all sorts of issues. I know when I had my surgery last year, it was severe surgery, and they were having issues that I came to the surgery that night. They I was having some issues, and so they decided that they had to disband all pain medication to try and deal with some of the issues that was going on. And my body had just been fully, half my body was fully open. It was like, you're what? No more, no pain medication? What? But I had been prepared. I had packed my oils and diffuser and all of that. And I have to say, as silly as it sounds, it was a lifeline at that point. It really helped me with the pain management. There were certain oils that I had. My husband, knew to massage on my feet, my legs, whatnot. I had my diffuser going, so it really helped me just, stay
Mm.
focused and breathe through the pain. And so trust me when I say there was no one more skeptical, as actually me and my husband both. But it works. Praise the Lord. So, and that's how I met Edie. That's how I met Dr. Edie Wadsworth when we were at a Young Living conference. And she hobbled up there, like I said, with, no, she is, her podcast as well. If anyone has not yet listened to The House of Joy, I highly recommend. She's so beautiful. She's so gifted. She's so wise. She's an amazing coach. She is such a gift, and I highly recommend that.
Kim, tell the people where they can find you on Facebook and about your essential oils group.
So the Facebook group is called Breath of Heaven Essentials. On Instagram, I don't have a separate account. It's just Kim Boylan is my handle on Instagram. Of course, I do a lot on Instagram, even more than my Facebook. But the Facebook group, which is Breath of Heaven Essentials, is a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun over there. A lot of good tips, and so we enjoy that a lot. Yeah.
So good. I always look out for your new cocktails and your blends and all your stories. So we'll throw all of that information in the show notes for everyone's reference. Shanna, what about you? How can people connect with you and tell about your one-on-one coaching opportunities as well for those that might just come to listen through my podcast?
I am on all of the socials at Coach Shanna P. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. I think that's all of them. And my podcast is the Christian Life Coach Podcast. I do one-on-one life coaching, life and weight loss coaching. And I also I'm so excited. I have been doing a 6-week reset group periodically, and I am revamping it and I am rebranding it. And I literally just sent an email to the people that are on that wait list. Um, Yesterday, is it Tuesday, Monday? And it has a new name and a new vibe.
Yeah,
It's called Shift. And
I
that
love that.
6 weeks of shifting. It's not all thought out yet, but it's shifting our identity in order to shift the things that we do, and vice versa, shifting what we do to shift our identity. So I'm super excited about that. So if you want to get on the wait list, just head on over to anything at Coach Shanna P, and you can find out how to do that.
Shanna, that's what I love so much too about you. Your podcast is so encouraging because you have such a gift of uh, you simplify everything. It's so practical the way you share your skills and how you approach your coaching. I I listen to you when I'm out on my walk and I think, why did I not think of that? Like it's attainable and you feel like I I can grasp that. And so I encourage everybody, you have to listen. It's so encouraging. You are so gifted. That's what makes you such a beautiful life coach. Oh,
I'm simple. I am simple and practical. That pretty much explains Shanna right there.
but I think we need that. I that's the beautiful gift of coaching because it really isn't difficult. You know.
And I am the kind of person, and I lead encounter groups in life mentoring school, and I tell them that all the time. I am the kind of person that if you tell me about something, I want to know exactly what that means. Like,
Right.
what does that look like on a Wednesday when my husband walks in the room and gets on my nerves? Like, what are the tools? How do I use them? I want to know, like,
Right.
tell me everything.
Yes. Yes. That's so
I want
true.
steps, actually. That would be
Right.
Yes, go check out Shanna. I have if my clients regularly get links to different episodes of Shanna's podcast in follow-up emails. So definitely worth checking out. Love all that you put out into the world, Shanna. Excited about your new offering for the fall. That's so fun.
And what about you, Kendall? Tell us all the things.
But you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Kendall Snyder Coaching. I'm enrolling now for fall one-on-one sessions. Um, I am just have a few spots left. I'm limiting just how much I'm coaching this fall because I'm expecting my first grandbaby. So I want to have just plenty of margin to support and love them. And so um, if you feel like it's the right time to get support from a one-on-one coach, you can find me. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. So ladies, I cannot tell you enough how much this has encouraged me. Um, my true confession is moments before we got on here, I was just teary and in a vulnerable place and almost was just like, is my heart and mind ready for this? And I'm so glad that I had these two faces on the screen to remind me that the Lord is near and that this was worth it. And this was what the last hour so held for us. And so many nuggets of truth, things that I'm going to come back and re-listen to. And everyone, find yourself a Kim Boylan. Find yourself a lady that is in the Lord, that will point you to truth and will be an encourager for you. There are other Kim Boylans out here, but man, we really love this one on the screen with us today. So,
You're so precious.
ladies, thank you so much for this
Yes,
time. What a gift.
it sure was. Thank you. Goodbye, sweet friends.